Here we are.
At 3:05. And not, as Kelly said in the video, it is not because I didn't finish reading the book. I actually finished reading this book like 3 days ago.
It's not. She did good.
It was just because I was late getting here.
She's still late, but it's okay. She got the book read. I'm so proud of her.
I know, right? It only took me a whole 12 months to finally read a book on time.
I'm proud. It's good. It's all good.
Yeah.
But we're here. We're not that late. So.
Yeah.
So hi, everybody.
Hello.
Here we go. Book club, December, end of the year.
Yes.
Here we are.
Our final 2022 book club book discussion.
Yes.
So
I guess it was mine, wasn't it?
It was yours. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
Haig.
Yeah.
Haig. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go watch some of our other videos. You'll get that. Mm-hmm. Okay. But yeah, that was it. So, well, it was par for the course.
Yep.
I think when I texted you, I said it was an appropriate way to end 2022. So.
Yeah. In comparison to all of our other book club books.
Yeah, it went right along.
It sure did.
Right along. I don't know. Where to put it. I'm kind of leaning towards 2 myself, but I just almost a 3. 2.75, almost a 3. It was easy to read.
You're being very generous.
I mean, he's a pretty good writer as far as prose goes. But, the story was just, so, I don't know. I feel like I'm being generous. I went back and did stats for our upcoming video. And I think I was a bit generous with some of our others.
Yeah.
But anyway, in that area. So we'll get into all that. We do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I gave it a 2.
Did ya?
And I thought I was being generous with 2.
Oh my, you really didn't like it.
No, I really didn't. I almost walked in here today and I was going to because I normally take notes, as y'all know, for the books and everything. And I about walked in here with just being like, this is my notes. Because I have nothing to say about this book at all. Nothing good, it's all bad. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, this might be a really short stream.
I don't know. Yes. I don't know. It's like you said, it was easy to read.
Very easy.
It was very fast of a read too. I liked the short little chapters.
Yeah.
That helped.
Yeah.
But that was literally the only good thing that I actually did write down for
That was
notes.
it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the concept. Pretty kick-ass concept. It was just...
Was it though?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it just was used badly. It was so predictable. I mean, it was trite and predictable right down the line. I mean, for anybody's very first thought of what you would think about living lives over again, it's that. There's no surprises. There's nothing to go, oh, I didn't think that might happen. Nothing. It went straight on down the line. Yeah. So it was dull. Really dull.
Repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like she was living different lives all the time, but I was still reading about the same life.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
Yeah. Pretty much. I will say, though, in the beginning, I thought this was going to be so good because the countdown. Okay, so I guess, obviously, you all know that we're in here for the spoilers. So
we should probably talk about what the book's about before we completely just rip it apart.
Probably ought to. So Nora, I can't even remember her name. Nora Seed.
That's right.
I think I'd remember that. No. That's how forgettable this whole thing is.
Yeah, I literally finished the book 2 days ago and I couldn't remember that.
Yeah. So Nora Seed, she dies. We'll talk about how in a little bit. But when she dies, she goes to this place that is the Midnight Library. And all of the books in this library, infinite number of books, are all about other lives she could have led if she had made one tiny difference, a different decision. And so she can pick any book that she wants and live out that life, or at least experience it, because she doesn't really live out the life. Um, but there is also a book of regrets in this. And so you can open this book and read through like everything you regretted about the life that you lived. And so I think it's supposed to like help you pick a new life so that you can relive or maybe re-experience, maybe not think that your regret was such a big regret anymore,
Yeah,
or
it's supposed to like undo your
regrets. Yeah. So anyway, Nora goes into this library, and there's a librarian there who is the I don't know, spirit guide, but it's in the form of an old teacher that she had,
Old school
librarian, that was very kind to her, that she was close to at school when she was younger. So that's the person that's kind of guiding her through the library, telling her what to do and how to experience it. And so Nora starts in on going through all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So as you can imagine, like I said, it was really predictable. So, first thought off the cuff, what do you think? Oh yeah, Nora's gonna go all through all this and realize that her roads not taken were not really that great anyway. And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The whole thing. So, but okay, so the beginning. I really did like the beginning. I don't know how far in it was until she actually.
It wasn't very far. It was like,
no.
It's less than 20 pages in.
Yeah. She kills herself because
she attempts to kill herself. She actually isn't technically dead.
She's not technically dead. As long as her body is living, she can be in the library. And we'll get to that later, I guess. But I was just looking here. Oh yeah, there it is. So 23 pages. So the very, very beginning. And it's like a countdown. It's like 12 hours before Nora dies, or, whatever like that. But I mean, the representation of depression and how it was very good. It was really well done. I mean, oh my gosh, I felt like crap reading about her, because it was like, ugh. I mean, and everything was like dogpiling on top of her, and she had a cat, and the cat died, and I was like,
poor Volts, man.
Volts. It was just one thing after another. And so it really was realistic to lead up to how she killed herself, or why she killed herself. Yeah. And so that was entirely believable. I felt every second of that. It was really good. And then it went to hell after that, pretty much.
Yep. Hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, his representation of that was, I thought, really well done in the beginning.
Yes.
In the beginning. Later on, not so much. So yeah, she enters, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, a coma, unconsciousness, whatever. And she gets to the library. Mrs. Elm explains to her, Mrs. Elm is the old school librarian, explains to her how the library works and what it's for. And basically, Nora has a decision to make. She can live out these lives, and if she finds a life that she feels like was the life she should have led, and then she can stay there, and she can live out her entire rest of her life in that life. Or if she doesn't, then she'll die. If she never figures out a life that she can be happy in, then she can die, and she'll just die.
Yeah.
So that's it. So, yeah. So it's all about these different things. Like Nora, when she was younger, was a competitive swimmer and was very, very good, had like Olympic prospects. But it was something her father kind of pushed her to do. And she kept doing it to please her father, because otherwise they had no relationship at all. And then when she quit, he kind of just lost interest in her altogether. She was in a band, and they, I guess, were pretty good, with her brother and a friend. And they were really good. And I guess they were
had a
supposed
record deal.
to get a record deal. But Nora's anxiety and depression got in the way, and she quit. And then her brother, like,
I was like, see you
basically
later, sis.
quit speaking to her because he was mad at her. And she runs across the other friend after she's been dumped on. She lost her job.
Her cat
Her
dies.
cat dies. And then she goes in the store, and there's this friend that was in the band with them, and he like dogs on her. And this was like years before. I'm like, dude, move on, you know?
Right.
Anyway, he dogs on her for that. So there was that. I don't know. She
So
was
her neighbor didn't want her help anymore, because like
Yeah.
she was going out to like pick up his pills and everything for him, but
Kinda-
then he's like, well, I don't need your help, I don't need you.
my son arranged for it all to be delivered, so we're good. But thanks for all your help, but you don't have to bother with me anymore.
Then she lost her piano lesson student.
Yeah, she missed a piano lesson, and so they basically fired her. They were mad at her. So yeah, it was just a
like one after the other.
steamroller. When she was younger, she was interested in glaciers and the Arctic, and so Mrs. Elm was always encouraging her to be a glaciologist. And she never went through on that. She went to school, but instead of going to science, she went into philosophy instead. So yeah, all of those things were in her book of regrets. So those were kind of the first lives that she lived out. I think it was the music one, wasn't it? If she hadn't quit the band. No, her ex-fiance.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, Dan.
Good old Dan, I tell you what.
Dan.
I
yeah.
knew even before she lived out that life that he was a piece of utter trash.
Well,
but, you know.
It was too early in the book to find a life that she liked. But seriously, I thought she was going to spend far more time in these lives than she did. She did not. She was in that life. Dan's dream had always been to open a pub in the country. And they, of course, broke up before they ever got married in Nora's root life. So that obviously never happened. And so this life was, what if we had gotten married and opened that pub? And so she enters this life, and she's figuring out, she has no concept of the life. She's like figuring things out on the fly in like minutes, seconds in some cases. Like the leaps, like, oh, this must be because of this. And it's right. Of course it's right.
Right.
But anyway, she quickly figures out that she and Dan don't have a good relationship, that he cheated on her. At one point, he's not happy with the pub. And so she's in that life, maybe an hour?
Not even,
Basically,
yeah.
Mrs. Elm says the minute you feel disappointed with that life, you return to the library. So it didn't take long. And she was back in the library again. And then I think it was
the Olympics, I think.
Was it the Olympics
I think
after
so.
that? I don't know. She did What If I Had Stuck with Swimming. And her dad, in her root life, her dad died. I don't know, heart attack or something like that.
I think so.
Bad health in general.
Oh yeah, heart attack on the rugby field.
Yeah. So I don't know. Her dad was still alive, but it turns out that he had an affair with he cheated on her mom, and then her mom ended up dying, and her brother was her manager or something.
A lot of trash men in this book.
They weren't getting along still. I don't know. Anyway, of course, it wasn't what she wanted it to be. So popped right back in the library. I don't know. She might have been in that one a couple of hours. I don't know.
Yeah, she was
not
in
very
that
long
for a while.
Not very long. There was one where she didn't quit the band, and so they were international rock stars. And turns out she had been in a relationship with
the famous Ryan Bailey.
Yeah, her like celebrity crush. They'd actually been in a relationship, and
like, of course they were.
I don't even know why she didn't finish out that life. I don't remember what that was about.
Because her brother had died.
Oh, right.
Her brother
overdosed.
And so, because she thought that he was still in the band with them and was asking where that
Joe, and their manager was Joanna. And so the other band member thought she meant the manager. So yeah, so she found out her brother was dead, and that
on a podcast.
Yes,
on a podcast. She found out that her brother was dead.
Doing an interview.
Yeah.
So that popped her right back out of that life, and I don't know. In the one Okay, this is the one that really got me, when she was the glaciologist. Right. Okay. So she really was the glaciologist. But of course, it pops them into these lives, but it doesn't come with any background. So it's like Nora in her seed life gets dropped midway into someone else's life. Right. So this is basically about parallel universes. And like there is another Nora seed living this life, but I don't know where they go when Nora, the root Nora, drops in to that life. I don't know where they go. I mean, that doesn't seem very fair. Huge plot hole right there because it's like she's taking someone else's life. These are real parallel universes.
No, it's a multiverse. It's Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So she's taking
Marvel.
someone else's life, but there's nothing about where that person goes. I mean, is she killing people? It doesn't even address it. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So big plot hole on that one. She stayed in that one for quite a while, a couple days,
Yeah,
3 days.
I think so.
Yeah, and that was when I think a really unnecessary part happened. Henri was basically he was like Nora and called them what, travelers? Sliders. So this is where it was so dumb because it tried to explain it scientifically, like with quantum physics and crap.
Yeah,
And it was
wasn't
like,
good at all.
Dude, you're not a scientist. Just
No.
don't even.
You're not a quantum physicist.
Just leave it as, hey, it's just like cosmic universe, man. This is what happens. Don't try and explain it.
Yeah.
But they did, and it just was wrong. It was wrong.
It was cringy. That's how it was so bad. I was reading, I'm just like,
and then, like I said, they drop Nora, the root Nora drops into these lives with no background. So she's like playing at being a glaciologist, not being a glaciologist. I'm like, what? How would you ever live out that life? You're gonna get caught up at some point. What? In that life too, she seemed fairly happy. That was another thing about the book. It really slapped you in the face with environmentalism, which was annoying because it was not done well. No. It was just like right in your face, like here, pay attention. And she was so self-righteous about it too. It was just annoying as all hell. But anyway, she loved this because she was saving the planet. She was doing work that saved the planet. And she fought off a polar bear,
she didn't even fight off a polar bear. That's the thing though, either. She was scared to death. This polar I mean, I would be too.
Well, I mean, she still did something about it, but it wasn't
but it wasn't like she went toe to toe with the polar bear. She beat on a pan and scared it off. And
fired a flare.
That didn't even go anywhere.
Scared it off. But she was like, I fought through my fear, and that's, something I've never done before. Because she was. I mean, she always gave in to her anxieties and her depression.
She fought for her life, which was something that she had never
done before. Yeah. So she was feeling really high, and this is all great. And of course, then Henri enters the picture, and he's like, "You're not a great glaciologist, are you?" Anyway, yeah.
I know your secret.
Why would you?
And then they sleep together. And
why she leaves that life? She's having a ball. Otherwise, why she leaves that life?
It wasn't good. The sex wasn't good.
The sex was disappointing, and that's what popped her back into the library. Sex. She was enjoying the life. Sex. Okay, sure. That was so stupid.
It was so dumb.
So stupid. So, yeah. That was really bad.
I hated that. Really I hated it so much.
But even so, how was she going to live out that life? If she had decided, yeah, this is the life for me, I am loving this, how?
No.
How was she going to live it? She had no background in glaciology.
There was no way. There was no way.
Oy.
As a scientist myself, I'm just kidding, but I am a scientist. But
you are a scientist.
There's no way that
you can't fake it.
You can't.
You can't fake it for long.
No.
And I don't know, because they said that once she chose a life, that she would gradually forget about the Midnight Library and forget that she was ever there. Now, it did not say.
Well, it kind of happened with her.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah.
But it never said, that she would become that person. It took great pains to try and explain the quantum physics of string theory, but and it took great pains to explain how the library worked, but they couldn't throw a detail in there about how she could actually become a glaciologist. Okay. Anyway, that one was the stupidest one for me. It was stupid.
They were
all dumb.
They were all dumb.
They were all
They
dumb.
really were.
And the point was like, after especially I think it was, after the first one, the pub one with Dan too, it was like she'd come back and then that regret, the regret that she broke up with Dan, broke his heart, didn't go with him to live out his dream, that it was all her fault, that he'd never pursued that dream. That regret was erased from her book. She realized it wasn't her fault. It just was never going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And the band, well, that was just no good because that one was erased for letting her brother down. She felt bad because it was her fault. She couldn't get past her stage fright. And, that was all erased because obviously that led nowhere good because her brother died. So that was erased. I mean, it was like so simple. So simple.
Yeah, it's like so the whole book was supposed to be kind of like a profound look at depression and everything. And it was so bad.
It was
so bad.
And it was so surface level. Like every time she entered a life, man, the very top reason that you would expect to happen, it happened, and it never delved any deeper. But yet it would have these like little one-liners in there that were supposed to be profound insights, and they were not.
They were not.
They were just trite, really. So I wish I had marked some so that I could read them and I back to you and justify myself, but I didn't care enough. So.
Sorry. There was a point in there where I was reading and I literally just skipped a whole 3 pages because you knew
what was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, and I guarantee I didn't miss a single thing.
And I mean, it was like if you knew, what was going to happen because it should have dealt with Nora dealing with her regrets, dealing with her self-blame.
Actually working on herself.
Yeah.
Working through her depression and finding out the real root reasons as to why she did make these decisions.
Like a really good long therapy session,
That's what it should have been.
Working on her self-hatred and her self-doubt and the things that she blamed herself for that were never really her fault. But so I can see where the outcome should have been predictable. But it could have been much more interesting in how it happened. Like, God, she could have spent like weeks in a life before she popped out again.
Mm-hmm.
Because any one of them was better than what she had.
Yes.
And yet instantly, I mean, it was instantly, this life's no good. The sex is bad. With a guy that she knew wasn't going to stick around anyway because he was a slider too. So it wasn't like she was in a relationship with him.
A guy she didn't really even know. He was a stranger.
No. She just wanted to have sex and that's
One night stands aren't supposed to be good.
And cool, whatever, but it wasn't like, why that?
I don't even.
Other than that, she was having a ball.
I don't even know why that. I don't know why that even happened though.
She had a friend.
That's the thing. I had no idea why they even ended up in bed together.
I don't either. Just
like that. That did not have to be there at all.
It didn't. It was like
it served no point
because otherwise she was having just such a good time in this life. There had to be something that popped her out of it.
God forbid.
I mean,
she actually maybe find a good life.
She had a friend. She was enjoying her because she's such an environmentalist. That got slapped in your face over and over and over. So there had to be a reason to pop her out of that life, I guess.
And I guess
I don't know. It was just so bad. But I guess the process could have been interesting and unexpected. And maybe, the pub life. She and Dan could have been like really in love and enjoying the pub, but there could have been something else that popped her out of the life, something a little deeper than just, or I mean, even that was the first one. Okay, let that one go as expected, but you got to get deeper as you go along, or it's basically just a random series of short stories.
Yeah.
Vignettes. And it was not interesting after a while. So, I don't know. She went through a whole bunch of lines. And then at some point, it was like, it was just a random list. Like she was this, she was this, she was this, she was this.
Those were the pages I skipped.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was whatever. It was fine. What was the one though that she popped out of? It wasn't the last one. Or maybe it was the last one. But the reason. Oh no, 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 no. It was with the guy, um, the boring guy that had all the dogs.
Oh,
Whatever his name was.
Dylan.
Dylan. Yeah, they lived
Maybe.
in the same town that Nora had lived in. They had, I don't know, met at the.
They went to school together.
Yeah.
They didn't really know each other all that well, and then she was working at the animal shelter, and I think he worked at the animal shelter too.
She chose to work at the animal shelter instead of the music store. That was her big.
One of her big regrets.
That was the decision. Yeah. Yeah, and it was comfortable but boring.
Well, it kind of to me sounded like she just chose him because, oh, well, we're friends. And
he was there.
He was there.
But it was the reason, I think that was the reason that she left that life was because she realized that she needed love. That was her whole problem. She just really had no one that really loved her.
Yeah.
So that's how we treated depression, was all you need is love.
All you need is other people's validation.
Because in the lives where she and her brother got along, she thought she'd stay there too. And it was something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, anyway, she was ready to give up. I think she was ready to die or something like that. I don't even remember.
I was ready to die reading this book.
There was some sort of subplot going on that the library was having trouble. It was glitching, and then there was like some like earthquake kind of thing. I mean, there was some sort of hints that there was something wrong with the library, and that went absolutely nowhere.
Well, they made a mention that it was because like Nora would, like, her root life, Nora, was getting closer to death.
Yeah, and then it never went anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
There was none of this, well, you better hurry up, because, I mean...
Yeah, you better hurry and find
it was really dumb, because the whole premise was you can live out any number of these lives that you want to. Until you decide, nothing will happen. And then all of a sudden it's glitching because her root body's dying. And then it never went anywhere. Like, it was never a progression where the library got worse and worse and worse, and so she was pushed.
Yeah, it just happened really sporadically.
And what would be the point of pushing her along? I mean, she was living the lives. She was doing the thing. It wasn't like she was sitting in the library going, nope, I ain't picking another book. That was not it. So she was doing what she was supposed to be doing, and yet all of a sudden there's a problem with the library. But there was never a problem with the library. No. So, well, until the end.
Yeah.
Which made it really stupid. Really dumb. Because
Stupider.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, okay, so the very last life, she lived in it for a long time. Prior, in her root life, she knew he was a doctor. Surgeon. Mm-hmm. And he would come in, she worked at a music store, and he would come in and play the guitars and talk to her about music and stuff. Well, he had asked her out to coffee one time, and she said no.
Like an idiot, because she was with stupid Dan.
And yeah, and in her root life too, when her cat died, that was the first life. She wanted a life where her cat wasn't run over, because she assumed her cat was run over.
Well, she just wanted a life where her cat was alive.
Her cat was alive. But when she got in that life, her cat was dead, because it turned out her cat had not been run over. He had a heart problem. So that popped her. When she found her cat dead, she popped right out of that life.
Which, understandably.
Yeah.
Like, I would have booked it out of that life, too.
Again, in her state of depression, at that point, she's like, oh my God, there's not even a life where my cat's alive. But anyway, in her real life, when they thought her cat had been run over, and this surgeon, he found the cat, and was the one that came to the door and told her. Anyway, her last life, she was like, "Well, what if I had said yes
To the coffee
to
date.
the coffee date?" And so she pops into this life where they're married, they have a kid. She is a professor of philosophy at the university, and he, of course, is a surgeon. And they're just living life. And
Yeah.
she's like,
Seems like a great life.
living it. And
Yeah.
she has to ease into it though. Because at
Right.
first she's like, she hates that this little girl thinks that Nora's her real mom. She hates that. And she takes her a while to warm up to Molly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she warms up. But it's kind of one of those things that she starts convincing herself, like telling herself self affirmations. This is a really good life. You're happy here. You get to teach philosophy. And, he's a great guy. He's a good husband. She has a really good relationship with her brother in this life.
Mm-hmm.
Where they have made up over the band thing and gotten all past that. And so she starts to be happy. And so she starts to forget things. But then it doesn't work out, and I don't know why.
Because Mrs. Elm had died.
Right. She went to visit Mrs. Elm in the nursing home because that's where, in one of her other lives, someone had said Mrs. Elm was in this nursing home. So Mrs. Elm died. That was the only reason. I thought there was a reason for it. You talk, I'll look at it.
That's the only reason that I could think of.
I've been talking too much.
I have nothing to say.
Okay.
Remember I walked in here blank notebook? I have nothing to say.
That's all right. Say something. You can say something.
I don't know. I honestly think that is the only reason why. Because she went to the nursing home and like, oh, Mrs. Elm died like a couple of weeks ago. And then she got all sad because she didn't get to visit Mrs. Elm. And then she was like racing back. Oh, and because of Leo. That's what it really was. She was coming back from the nursing home, Leo, the little boy that she was teaching piano. And she saw that he was being like arrested by the cops or whatever. And
she met her former neighbor in the nursing home instead.
Yeah.
So she was starting to see, that was it. She was starting to see how really, It's a Wonderful Life. She's Jimmy Stewart in this one. Seeing how much of an effect she had. Yeah, but Leo, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
So I guess Leo and his gang of friends got into some trouble. I don't know if they were stealing stuff or what they were doing, but the cops were taking them away, and she tried to stop them. She's like, no, this is Leo. Like, he's a good kid. And they laughed at her because, like, no.
He had a rap sheet.
Yeah, oh yeah. And so then after that, she was just thinking, like, well, if he would have stuck with piano.
If she'd been there to teach him piano lessons.
Then he wouldn't have continued to hang out with this gang of rowdy friends. And
yeah, he wouldn't
led
be in
this
trouble.
life of crime.
And she had met her former neighbor in the nursing home, and she was like, well, if I had been there to help him, he'd been able to stay at home.
Yeah, because he hated being in the nursing home.
Yeah.
He was talking to the nurse and trying to leave. He's like, this was a mistake. They didn't mean to bring me here. I hate it here, all this stuff.
And then I think when she got home, she was like starting to realize that she had convinced herself that, well, she did love Molly. She grew to love Molly.
Mm-hmm.
But what was her husband's name?
Ash.
Ash, right. I think she started to realize that I told myself I was in love with Ash. He's a good person. He's a good father. He's a good husband. So I should love him. And so, yeah, so all of those reasons. So yeah, basically It's a Wonderful Life. But there was something at the end of that chapter.
Well, didn't she decide, like, when she got out of that life that she was going to find Ash? Like something?
Yeah, and the other thing is that because she was a philosophy major in college, there's like constant references and constant philosophy quotes and
Henry David Thoreau this and Thoreau
oh
that.
My gosh, Thoreau was her favorite, and you knew it.
Yeah.
By the end of the book, oh my gosh, you knew it. Yeah, it was a mess.
It was so bad.
No, that's when she woke up in the
And they also
library.
had like little poems and things that were supposed to be like really amazing, like sprinkled in throughout the book because Nora's a philosophy student, so she
Yeah.
should be so philosophical and all of these
So
things.
yeah, so the philosophy is supposed to be, and it's not.
No, that's stupid.
They'll be okay. They'll be okay. Oh, and the music store. Okay, so the music store that she worked with, she walked by that store and it was closed. And this is her big realization. Well, I suppose I did sell a lot of electric pianos and some rather nice guitars too. Hmm.
Yeah, that was one of her self-righteous moments right there because the whole reason that she got fired from her job in the first place is because her boss told her that he wasn't going to sell anything with her face looking like that all the time.
With her wet dish rag face.
Yeah.
Because she was so depressed all the time.
So he fired her. And then she saw in a couple of her lives that the store still gone out of business, even though she never worked there. And so she was just like, huh, wasn't just me then.
And she thought of poor Leo, sat in the smooth, waiting for Doreen to come. This is the best life, she told herself a little desperately now. This is the best life. I'm staying here. This is the best life for me. But she knew she didn't have long. It's just, and that was like through the course of this life. This is a good life. This is the best life. I want to stay here. And then yet she kept slipping away. But I think that one was just that it was good enough. And so she kept trying to convince herself to stay. And, but I guess deep down, it really wasn't the best. It was just good enough. But when she gets back to the library is like falling apart because I don't know why. I don't know why. It just was. And apparently her body was dying. Her root body was dying. And so the library was disintegrating and catching on. It was on fire. Oh, but wait. There's one last book.
One book that won't be on fire.
The one book that won't be on fire. Go get that book. Okay, sure. So yeah, she goes to get that book.
And then it's blank inside.
It's blank. And so she has to write her own story. Wow. Does that blow your mind or what? Okay. Sure. So anyway, she writes something, it doesn't work. She writes something else, it doesn't work. And she realizes, I have to like take charge.
Yeah. Say, I am alive.
Not, I don't want to die.
Yeah. I want to live.
I want to live. No. I am alive.
That was so dumb. That was so dumb. I feel like I want to live has a much more, like, it's so much stronger than I am alive. Because she's not going to go back to this light with a whole, like, I don't know.
But, yeah, I mean, and like I said, there was never, I mean, why? I mean, really, at that point, when that last life that she thought was just good wasn't going to work out, why did she not go back saying, well, heck, if that's, try not to say really bad words, if that's not going to work, then what the hell would? Exactly. I might as well just die. Because through the whole thing, you were never given any reason why she dealt with her depression. It was just like she would live out this life and realize, oh, well, hey, that wasn't my fault. So I must be good. But that's not how it works in your head.
No.
It's not how it works in your head.
No. It's not like you just flip a switch
no.
and we're moving on from all of our problems.
No. Problems. That's just not how that works in your head. When you are so clinically depressed as she was to the point of suicide, oh,
you don't just get over that stuff. It's stuff that you
Exactly.
have to actually work through,
Yeah.
and it's going to take some time.
Because to what I got anyway, the root of it was her self-hatred.
Yeah.
She had no self-worth
Oh, no.
at all. And so it was like at the end, it was like, again, It's a Wonderful Life. All
Yeah.
she had to do was be shown how she made a difference in people's lives, and all of her self-hatred just went away.
Yeah. So which leads me then to think, like, well, what happens when we go through this again? When there's another situation
Mhm.
of where
Mhm.
she feels she's not needed
And
or is
and
not
really,
wanted.
the number of lives, I mean, there was, I don't know, 5, 6 lives on the page. And then there was that 3 pages like listing she was this and she was that and she was that. And she was like a chronic slider, like Henri was. And she never found a life that suited her. Or, sorry, but to my mind, if you are someone in the midst of like that low of self-esteem, why would you not think there's no life I'm good enough for?
Exactly.
Because that's how we twist things around. And so if you have all of those lives that didn't work out, would that not lead someone deeper into depression
Exactly.
instead of out of it? Because there was never a point where she dealt straight on with her own self-hatred. I don't know. Whatever. That was just my take on it. I don't know. So to me, that's why it felt very trite and very surface level, because I guess her depression just wasn't that bad. All she had to do was see that it wasn't her fault and that she wasn't a bad person, and
It
it
was
was all good.
it was almost like
I
it
don't
was
know.
a joke.
Yeah,
Like he was making fun of people who are depressed.
yeah.
Like
And
it's
I
kind of what it felt like a little bit, because it like the whole most of it, it was like you're supposed to be like, oh, like she says, oh, woe is me, and like she was like making a big deal out of nothing. But if you're really that depressed, it's not nothing.
it's not nothing to you.
No.
If it's bad enough, she was gonna kill herself. Okay. And I know that it's not, because I I had read about him that he himself suffered from mental health issues. So I know that's not it.
Yeah,
So
and
I think he's
I
just not that great of a writer.
I didn't mean that he like meant it to be that way.
Right,
I
but
just,
yeah, I'm just
yeah,
saying I know it
that's
isn't.
just kind of how it felt to me.
Which is why I think he wrote her in the beginning so well.
Yes, the
So
beginning
well.
was really well done.
Yeah, it was. And I think that's why, but it was just like, and I know that he wanted to show like
Like a positive
a path to recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the Midnight Library was supposed to be, again, a metaphor for your path to recovery. And it could have been, but I don't think it dealt with it very well.
No, he
I
didn't
think
get
it
into any of the nitty gritty
No.
bits of it at
No.
all. It was really just like, okay, well, we're sad here, but you don't have to be sad.
Now you
It'll
don't
be
have to be sad.
okay.
Now your regret has been erased.
Yeah.
The band wasn't your fault. Well, the reason the reason she blamed herself is because of what she felt about herself. Not because she didn't feel bad because, well, I mean, she did. She did feel bad that she let her brother down, but she turned it around that she felt she let her brother down because she's such a horrid person.
Yeah.
And
She's
what
so selfish.
the only thing, well, because she couldn't get past her anxiety. She couldn't get past her stage fright. But it didn't deal with, I mean, it didn't deal with how she felt about herself. All it did was say, well, that would have been a bad thing for Joe anyway, so you don't have to feel bad for not going through with it. But that's not what. Anyway. I really, yeah. It was supposed to be a book about the path to recovery, to a better place anyway, at least to the point of realization where I do want help and I do want to live. I want to put some effort into this to get better. And I didn't. All I saw was a bunch of trite, pithy, oh, honey,
Yeah.
it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And she bought into it. And she said, oh, okay. And so her book of regrets, which I think was supposed to be about her own, like I think that was supposed to symbolize her own mental health.
Yeah.
And so it was like every time she lived a life, a regret was wiped away.
Yeah.
So
So
we're
by the end-
cleansing our souls.
Yeah. By the end of it, that book was tiny,
Yes.
apparently.
But to me, it never none of her lives dealt with the real reason that, I mean, her self-hatred was
put a
so
Band-Aid on it.
evident in the beginning.
Put a
So
Band-Aid on
evident.
all of it.
Yeah. It just didn't. It was like, well, all we have to do is feel better. You just have to decide to feel better. That's it.
Because that is so easy to do.
Well, that's not what happens. That's not the way it works. You don't just decide to feel better. Not with clinical depression. You just don't. Okay, well, anyway. Yeah. So she decides.
Yeah. Whoa.
She decides she wants to live and live her root life. So back she goes.
And the second that she goes back, she makes like one phone call. Like I don't know. Like I know that it was supposed to be like a whole nother thing of like it's not as bad as you really think it is and kind of like a good happy moment, but everything just went so well once she got back to her root life.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely hated the scene with her brother.
Right?
That was so stupid.
Oh my god.
So she's in the hospital.
Because, you know, she
Well,
did try to kill
Yeah,
herself.
she wakes up in her apartment and she has vomited.
Yeah.
And so she gets out of her apartment and stumbles over to her neighbors and basically says, please call an ambulance. I've done something stupid. And so that's how she ends up in the hospital. But she's in the hospital. And I don't know if she called her brother or if somebody, I think the nurses did because they tracked down next of kin.
Yeah.
Because at this point, her parents are both dead in this real life. And her brother comes in and basically says, well, I was never mad about the band. It was just me.
Yeah, it was my own mental health and anxiety.
And so sorry I checked out on you. We're all good now. Yeah. And one of the things in the beginning, when she met up with her former bandmate in that store and he like ripped her ass, was that her brother had been in town and had visited this guy and had not even called Nora.
Yeah.
So he had come back from checking out to come back to their hometown and visit friends. But this guy who wasn't really mad at her, didn't even call her, hadn't talked to her in years. I can't remember how to put it.
Okay.
I mean, the way, oh my gosh.
Ew.
I was so angry.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that was so dumb.
And then everything was just supposed to be all hunky-dory and she just forgave him. Just like, okay, we didn't need to bring up that, you know, you didn't talk to me all that time for no reason.
Oh yeah, and before she tried to kill herself, she like called him and left a voicemail.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
And yeah, then the hospital contacted him and he got the first train from London. I'm sorry I've been incommunicado recently. It wasn't about what Ravi said it was about. I don't even think about the labyrinths anymore. That was the band. It was just a weird place. After Mom died, I was seeing this guy. We had a very messy breakup, and I just didn't want to have to talk to you or recently to anyone about it. I just wanted to drink, and I've been drinking too much. It was a real problem. But I've started to get help for it. I haven't had a drink for weeks. I go to the gym and everything now. I've started cross-training class. Oh, Joe, poor you. That's what she says. I'm sorry about the breakup and everything else. You're all I've got, sis, he said, his voice cracking a little. I know I haven't valued you. I know I wasn't always the best growing up, but I had my own shit going on. Having to be a certain way because of Dad. And he goes on and on and on. And he goes on and on and on. So basically, it wasn't you, it was me, and I just checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so now they're buds.
Yeah.
He stays in the hospital with her. He goes home with her. They're buds.
Yeah, she convinces him to go out on a date with Ewan. Whatever.
Ewan.
Whatever.
I
didn't listen to it.
Yeah, because in one of the other lives that she lived, they had met at the gym at a cross training class. And so when he tells her he's going to the gym and taking a cross training class, she's like, oh, yeah, you go to that. You do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And she gives the dude, gives her brother his full name, Dr. whatever. And he was like, oh, yeah, how do you know that that's his name or whatever? Because he didn't even know his last name.
Yeah.
The brother didn't know the last name. I'm like,
oh, wait, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just do it.
And I don't think at the end she even called Ash, did she?
No, she saw Ash driving into the hospital for his shift, and as they were driving out, and then that was it. She just said something about, like, maybe one day I'll see him again, or something like that. And I just wanted to scream. It's like, here we are.
And
here we are again, back
all better. But
for now, because we're exactly going to end up where we were at the beginning of this book in a month or two from now.
But what was it when she got, didn't she get, oh no, that was in the life where she got a, oh God, it's just, I don't know. She had a friend that she lost touch with who'd moved to Australia and was mad at her because she was supposed to go to Australia too and she didn't go. And now that's all good.
Yeah.
You know, they're texting each other and, oh, sorry I didn't get back to you. You know.
It pretty much was like.
And basically, I think what she decided to do for a career was piano lessons.
Yeah, she was a piano teacher.
That was what she was going to do. And she called her.
The one who fired her.
The one that she missed the lesson. And, oh, no, we love you. We don't want to.
Like, Leo's been talking about piano nonstop. We want you to still do his lessons. Like, it's water under the bridge, sweetheart.
Yeah, no big deal.
No, like, the whole last few pages of it was just, like, a slap in the face of, like, you overreacted. And
Yeah, absolutely. It was nothing. None of this was as bad as you thought it was. It was pretty much just like, that is her.
Whatever your feelings, they were not valid. You were just being dumb, overreactive.
Not that she dealt with any of her feelings.
No.
In the first place. She just went through a great big long It's a Wonderful Life that showed her that she wasn't a bad person. And apparently that's all it takes. No, I'm sorry. This book made me angry.
It made me very angry, which is why I felt like I was being very generous giving it 2 stars.
You're right. Now that we talk about it. I was giving it too much credit for being very readable. It is very readable.
Yes.
It is, the way he puts sentences together, the prose, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Like the dialogue between the characters, the subject matter was stupid, but it flowed well. Mm-hmm. I mean, so he writes conversations well. It's just the subject of the conversations that needs to be worked on. But I think I was being really generous with that portion of things.
Yeah.
Because the more I talk about it, I'm like, that made me angry. I haven't read this book for, I think it was a month ago. And I've read 2 books since. So, yeah. Anyway, I think I forgot how angry it made me. So, I think I'll probably land back down at a 2 as well. Because, again, I mean, the concept was really cool. We didn't need to play with the concept by destroying the library.
No.
We didn't need to, or if you're going to do that, say that there's a time limit from the beginning. You have these infinite number of lives, but you can only do it as long as your body, which again would not make sense because apparently time was frozen in her root life because she woke up in her apartment. It wasn't like somebody found her, took her to the hospital, and she was hooked up machines in a coma. So I have no idea how that would have worked out, but it made no sense, and I don't know how to make it make sense with whatever, not my job.
Maybe you should just use the quantum physics that he described in the book.
I don't even know what. I have no clue because that never panned out anywhere either. It was just a whole stupid attempt to explain the phenomenon that was happening. And there was no point to that. It didn't do anything. So, like I said, I don't know. And then there were these glitches that would happen in the library. Not even Mrs. Elm would know what was going on.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Just go get another book, dear, while I deal with this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was never explained well. I mean, they made an attempt, but it was not so many plot holes and things that didn't make sense. So,
Mhm.
but it's a cool concept. But I think if they had left it without trying to explain it, left it as a metaphysical thing, like these books are representations, and you can, if you find one, then poof, magically it will become real. Why not?
Right.
Why not? I mean, if we're dealing, like, magical realism explains nothing. You just go into it because. And it could be because, I don't know, she'd be in a coma for the rest of her life and her brain would be in this place. I don't know. Does it matter? No, it wouldn't matter. Because the point is, if she had woke up in the hospital, then you could see how she would have unlimited time. But if she's going to be frozen while she infinitely goes through all of these books, what about everybody else in her world? I mean, come on, we've got to think these things through. You can't just, okay, whatever. You get the gist. That's it.
Yeah. I was really hoping that this was going to be better because I knew going into it what it was kind of about and that it dealt with depression and all of that. I knew that going into it, and I had heard a lot of really great reviews before reading this book, being like, this book really changed my life. It really changed my outlook on everything. And all it did was just make me mad.
Mhm.
Like,
I could see someone dealing with like a mild depression or situational depression
but if you're
or
someone,
somebody struggling with self-esteem.
I wouldn't
I
even
think
go that far.
somebody like that maybe could have the reaction of, this really helped me see things differently.
I feel like if you are someone who's ever been in Nora's position, where you are so depressed that you wanted to
Well,
kill yourself,
yeah.
this book is a slap in your face.
Yeah.
This book, you should not read this book. You should not.
There you go.
It was not good.
I guess I could see if a reader had, like I said, like a situational depression, which I've had multiple times. Mine was mild and not life threatening in any way. I could see where someone in that kind of a situation, or like I said, someone struggling with self esteem issues could maybe read this and go, oh, well, I never thought about it like that. And could say, this book changed things for me. I mean, I could see that. But and I could even see someone saying, well, she was much worse off than I am. And I don't know. I'm just throwing crap out in the universe at this point, but it didn't follow. It did not follow at all for somebody as bad as she was to just, it's a wonderful life it through to recovery. Ugh.
No, it's not how it works. That is not how it works.
No, no. And, or pick like 2 or 3 lives and really make her live them.
Right.
And then maybe.
Yeah.
And then maybe.
Let's see if these issues that brought us to this point reoccur in these other lives that are supposed to be better.
Yeah.
And then if they do, let's work through them.
Right.
Because now we have, like,
I don't know. I don't know what to say because, again, to me, I felt very much so like her depression and her suicidal thoughts stemmed directly from self-hatred, from low self-esteem, not I don't know. I just think that's where it stemmed from.
and that's
Not situational.
No, I think
Not situational.
It 100% was a whole self-worth issue.
I don't think she was depressed because she lost her job and she
No.
lost her cat. She was depressed before that. I think it was definitely because she blamed herself for every bad thing and she thought she was worthless. You don't fix that by just saying, hey, look, it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, no. Because telling someone that
Right.
who is that
You
depressed
don't
isn't going to believe
them.
it. No, it's going to be like in one ear, out the other.
You don't
It's like,
believe
okay,
it.
great.
Anyway, so there, that's the book. That's the book. I don't know what else to say about it, really. I don't know. I wish y'all had commented or something. Somebody say something.
It's just us
Get
over
me
here
off this tear.
ranting about this book. But
Anyway,
yeah,
there it is.
Our last book of 2022.
It kind of followed right along in a not great book club year.
Yeah. And yeah, you guys will see and hear all of our thoughts and everything on all of the book club books next week in the video on Sunday. Because we're going to be doing our book club wrap up
next.
Yeah, we're going to film it after this.
Sign off here and go do it right now.
Yeah, but it won't be posted till next Sunday. So.
Right. And then we have lots of other stuff coming up too.
We sure do. Look at us being all productive in 2023.
So we'll see. We decided that our book content on Amy's channel will be the Everyday Epic, and so our book club discussions will be Tea Time Book Club. And so if you see, book club, it's one of these discussions. But if it just says the Everyday Epic, then it's just going to be
other fun videos.
Other fun content. So if there's something you'd like to see us do, if there's something that you enjoy, drop us a line, man. We're both on Instagram, so you can DM. Okay, I don't know. Is it DM?
It is DM. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm old. I still remember instant messaging. AOL. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, you can find us on there. Our tags are in the description, and you could message us there or comment here, whatever you like. But
tell us in person
sure,
too.
Yeah.
If anyone who actually knows this is watching, hi.
Hello. But yeah, because I'm sure at some point we'll probably run out of ideas. Like, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we've got some fun stuff in February for romance.
My favorite topic of all time.
Not either one of our really.
Which is interesting that we're going to be reading so many romance books for February.
We are. We're going to be reading a lot.
I think we're going to be reading more books here in February than I've ever read in a year.
Ever.
The romance. Yeah. In a single. Oof.
And all romance, which again, we're not going to do. Can I talk about the one though? Because I think it's going to be fun.
Okay. Is this what I'm thinking of? We're doing the three different...
The three?
Yep.
Yeah. We're going to do three romance books. We're going to do a classic romance. We're going to do a good old 80s, 90s bodice ripper.
What's your grandma's read?
Yeah. I really just wish, because I picked the book for that one, I just really wish I could have found a book that had the
Fabio cover.
Yeah, the half naked cover. But I couldn't. So anyway, because Amy limited me to westerns. So that was her. She picked the subject. I picked the book. So
I have a thing for cowboys. Okay, I'm sorry.
There you go. Can't blame me for that one.
No.
So anyway, that'll be book number 2, and then a contemporary romance. So part of that, I think that'll be fun to kind of see the progression of the romance genre, possibly. Yeah. So
maybe we'll surprise ourselves and end up liking.
Maybe so, because I'll tell you, when I was a latter teenager, young adult, loved me some good old bodice ripper stuff. They were fun. They were fun as long as you don't take them too seriously. They were fun. So anyway, I think that was going to be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we're going to pick books for each other too, but that may not happen until March. We may be too busy.
We'll see.
Because as it stands right now, we've got 4 books to read?
Quite a lot. Quite a few.
In February.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, first Sunday of February, we have another live stream coming out for.
We do. It's over. Mine's over there. Yeah.
I hit myself in the face. Project Hail Mary.
And that's a chunky book to hit yourself in the face with.
I'm gonna knock myself out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Yeah, this will be our live stream discussion first Sunday of
There
February.
you go.
3 p.m. Be here. Be square.
I've already read it.
As I'm sure you have, Kelly.
I have.
I haven't started it yet. So,
Of course you have.
Yeah, Talk to me again about
have.
3 days before we're going live.
Yep. No spoilers, but yeah. I read it. Yes, I did.
How?
So yeah.
How?
How?
You had.
I told you I read.
a week ago.
Well, I read The Midnight Library like 3 weeks ago.
Did you already read this when we did our book club picks for 2023?
No.
Okay.
No. I just read it like last week.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
No, I had not read it yet. No.
Still behind as usual over here, but it's okay. That's not gonna change. But
Yeah.
alrighty.
Okay. So yeah, fun stuff coming up.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
again, I don't know. Hit that little red button wherever it is and subscribe to her channel. And
Yeah, I don't know
You
where
get
it
all
is on
kinds
the
of
live
stuff.
streams, but
I
yeah.
don't either.
Yeah.
I hope it's there.
You
If
get-
not, just go check out another video and it'll be on there.
There's a
but-
whole lot, not just books.
Not
there's
just books. And
all
so
types of
if
life
you fell into us because of the book thing, she's got all kinds of other content. So
Yeah.
In a blog to go with. So there you go. You can find all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I'm only in the book stuff, so
Yeah, for
it's
now.
okay.
No, we're gonna take Kelly ghost hunting.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Yeah, we-
No, we're not. That shit freaks me out, and I'm not doing it. I load her up with my rosaries and my holy water because I think she's dumb. She's gonna bring something home with her one of
I
these
already
days.
have. I have a ghost in my house right now.
But she has a video up on that too,
Yeah.
on a little trip they took. And if it doesn't freak you out watching that video, well, you can go ghost hunting with her because I am not doing it.
We have another one coming out here soon as well.
You best be hitting the church on your way home. Get you some holy water.
I still have Grandma Jane's holy water in my car, so
Well,
if you know
good.
if any holy water is blessed, it was Grandma Jane's holy water. That's the best one to have.
Well, you must be sprinkling that stuff around. All right, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I've mommed her enough for the day.
Yeah, we need
Okay.
to probably wrap this up anyway.
Let's wrap it up.
As per usual,
So
we're
that's
hitting
it.
our hour mark, so
We
we're doing
are.
good.
I didn't think we would because I guess
You
I
know,
didn't think there was enough to talk about.
we just got really fired up there for a little while.
We kind of did. But oh well. It's all good.
It's all good in the hood. That's how you know it's time to end this.
It is time to
It's
end
time
this.
to say stupid
Okay,
shit.
so that is our discussion for the Midnight Library. Oh well. Let's hope 2023 brings better things.
Yeah.
Join us in a few weeks for live discussion. Read with us right now. This is our January book. We will be discussing it at the first part of February. So join us for that. And again, comment, tell us what you think. If you're watching this video later, feel free to comment and tell us what you thought of the Midnight Library. Or again, we're going to be doing more content. So if there's something you'd like to see us do book related, please comment.
Yeah.
Other than that, we gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
Okay.
We gotta go.
If you did tune in, thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Loved having you. Hope to see you again soon. And yeah, I'm Amy.
And I'm Kelly.
And this has been
Tea
Tea
time.
Time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.